don't know.
What about Brock Lesnar?
What about him? What about him?
Wouldn't you like to see Punk take the title off Brock Lesnar at Mania?
No.
I would.
Because that would require Brock to beat somebody for a championship.
Pepperoni is required, and there's maybe bacon, and that's it.
Okay, so Lariat Lounge fans, I have an announcement to make. I might as well announce it while we're talking about the prime subject of pizza. Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Skeener, we have finally returned to the eve of another PLE. I swear, along with daylight savings, I feel like this is the biggest break that we've gotten from anything in a very long time. But we're back in the saddle. We're back with Lariat Lounge Live this Saturday. How you feeling, man, on this eve of Friday Night SmackDown, because we're recording a little late this week, and Saturday night's main event?
Good. I think Saturday night's main event is going to be fun. They always are, but I think this one we've got right now four good matches on the card. Maybe one more to get added. We'll see on Friday, but should be a fun little event. Good little show.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I admittedly do not know off the top of my head what those four matches are. I know what one of them is. And that match, I am very interested to see who is going to come out on top. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. But first, thanks for coming out, guys, and hanging out with us on another week of the Lariat Lounge. Skeener, where can our friends let their friends know where they can listen to the ranked 196 pro wrestling podcast according to Apple Podcasts? And just to be clear, it's not just me saying that, but where can they hear us?
You're going to find us once a week, every week on all your favorite podcast platforms, wherever you get your shows, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere else you get your shows, we'll be there. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. And as always, you can feel free to send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
That's where you reach us, guys. And listen, we love all the things that you send to us. So please check us out on Instagram. Send us some messages. Send us an email if you like. We're down for it all. And listen, if you're loving what you're hearing every week, please, wherever you're listening to us, give us a like rating. It's a small thing. It's free for you, but for us, it means the world. But hey, enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. So, Skeener, if you have it in access right now, can you please remind me of what our four matches are that we currently have on the docket for Saturday night's main event? Because I am drawing a few blanks right now, aside from what is undoubtedly the main event, which is Jay versus Punk for the vacated World Heavyweight Championship.
Yes, you've got that. You've got Cody and Drew for the WWE Championship.
Okay, that's right.
You've got Tiffany versus Jade for the WWE Women's Championship.
Okay.
And added on Monday was Dom versus Penta versus Rusev for the Intercontinental title.
Okay, so this is just a title contention-laden PLE right here. Okay.
Yes, four on the line at least.
You know, this is more championship matches than sometimes we get on standard PLEs.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They're loading this one up.
I wonder what would even be considered for a fifth match on this card.
I do not think, but it's possible they add the women's tag titles if they want to go ahead and pull the trigger on Kabuki Warriors versus Charlotte and Bliss, but they may hold off on that one.
I'm wondering, because like if the end of Raw had Charlotte and Bliss defeating Bayley and Lyra. And then the Kabuki Warriors showed up, and they not only assaulted the tag champs, but they also assaulted Lyra and Bayley.
Well, they assaulted Lyra. They seemed a little hesitant about Bayley, and I like that detail, that they're a little scared of getting too involved with Bayley since she may be a little nuts.
Which is, yes, so I noticed that too. And honestly, for a split second there, Skeener, I thought that Bailey was going to turn on Lyra. It was a little too soon, I would have thought. But at the very same time, there was this second there that I was like, okay, so we're still digging deep into there are two sides of Bailey here, and one of them is not particularly fond of Lyra. But okay, but they didn't do that. But then that's also why I was thinking, could a triple threat match be in the future for these three teams? Like, obviously, Lyra and Bailey just had the match for the titles, and they came up short. But I don't know. I guess it does make more sense to go on with a Alexa and Charlotte versus the Kabuki Warriors. But I also feel like, have we gotten enough build for that one to really go ahead and throw that onto the card for Saturday if we don't get anything on Friday?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And, you don't want to rush the card, particularly because Saturday night's main event is usually only 2 hours.
Yeah, and maybe, if anything, maybe you do another U.S. Open challenge, but I'm sure we'll get one on SmackDown, so we'll see. But I think these 4 matches would be fine. Give them all time and go from there.
Let me ask you something.
Couple fun segments. Yep,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you something. Now, since you brought up the U.S. Open challenge, what are your thoughts so far about Ilya Dragunov, not as the U.S. champion, but him and how he's kind of taken up the mantle of the Open Challenge guy? And his first match for the Open Challenge was against Aleister Black?
Yes.
Okay. And he defeated Aleister Black. And let's see.
He did.
Yeah, he defeated Aleister Black. Yeah.
He did. This week was the first one, because 2 weeks ago he won the title, and then last week he did his little Open challenge.
Yeah, okay. And then that match ended, and then Damian Priest came out and exacted some revenge on Aleister Black. Okay. So, yeah, so your thoughts on Ilya Dragunov and him kind of running with the U.S. Open Challenge. Like, do you think that the U.S. Open Challenge should just be this standardized thing for U.S. champions, or should it be something that is more tailored to usage with the right individuals?
A little of both. Like, I'm fine with it. It gives you something to do with it, especially if they don't know exactly who they want Ilya to get involved with, and kind of gives you a spotlight to shine on some people that kind of wouldn't get that shot normally, and bring some surprises. Kind of a little juice segment in the show. Have someone show up they weren't expecting to, have a nice match. But I don't think you can do it forever.
Yeah.
Obviously, just because you'll burn through all your matches if so. But
yeah.
I'm fine with it right now. I don't think it needs to. Like, it doesn't need the U.S. title. I don't think needs to become, just no matter who's champion, we're doing Open Challenge every night. I mean,
yeah,
but I'm fine with it for right now. I liked Sammy doing it, especially because it was a little nod to I think that was his debut, right? The John Cena match.
Yes.
I think that was his main roster debut, so it fit there. I like it for a week or two with Ilya as like, oh, here's a nod to Sammy, and like they talked about backstage, like, oh, this is, thanks for the opportunity, but a couple weeks and then I'm fine with going away from it after that.
And that's I don't disagree with you, right? And I think that's part of why my opinion on it is I really wish that it would be more locked to the character and who a character is. Like, it made perfect sense for Sami Zayn to pick up that, that mantle again. And to offer the first one to John Cena, because that's where, he got his start. And so I also thought that it fit Sami Zayn's character. I feel like Ilya picking this thing up from Sammy, I don't know. I feel like Ilya could probably benefit from some more narrative storytelling. And sometimes I feel like the U.S. Open Challenge can prevent that from happening. Like, it worked well for Sammy because at that point with Sammy, we didn't really need to invest a lot in kind of giving him more nuance and depth because he's kind of already there. But two, the US Open Challenge served as that narrative beat for him because of where his origin on the main roster came from, right? And his history with John Cena in that respect. But for Dragunov to be an open challenge, for Sami Zayn and to defeat him and take that title and then just kind of pick it up and also do the open challenge things. I don't know. For me, it felt like the crowd, when Dragunov came out there to do his first open challenge, they seemed a little flat. And yes, he has a lot of energy, which I think is fine for the first go round. But I've also kind of feel like if they stop doing it, let's say in a couple weeks, I think it could lend to this idea that the open challenges are not interesting and that they weren't working with Ilya Dragunov. And now they're going in a different direction. If they tell a good story off of it, I guess it's fine. And I'm not saying this is a big deal or anything, but I don't know. When I saw the open challenge, I was just kind of like, they should do something different here with him. Because he seems like a cool character. I didn't watch him a ton when he was in NXT. So, maybe that's part of it for me, that I didn't get to witness Ilya Dragunov do anything with a lot of real storytelling behind it. But now that he's been gone for a year plus and now he's back, I'm legitimately learning Ilya all over again. And him being who he is, I'm familiar, but the open challenge stuff is not really giving me anything to sink my teeth into. So, I'm interested to see where they go with him and being the champ. But right now, I feel like I could use a little bit more from what they're doing with Ilya, and I just don't feel like I'm getting a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you, and in the thinking that you can only we need to figure out, and we need to figure out and be introduced, and people largely need to find out who Ilya Dragunov as a character on their screen is, what his motivations are, how he acts, what his attitudes, all that stuff, because he's a relatively new character and he's been away for over a year and didn't get that much introduction to begin with. So yes, these open challenges are definitely, you don't get a lot of that. You don't get character development in the open challenges, really, at least in the vein that we like it. So yeah, I'm with you in that I would like to see it go away quicker than I would otherwise with an established character.
Well, you know why this is, right? Like, why this is a issue for Ilya Dragunov specifically. It has nothing to do with Ilya. It has everything to do with the U.S. Championship. Who was the U.S. champion before Sammy? Who did he win it off of? Solo?
Solo, yes.
Okay. I feel like, aside from where Solo's position is generally on the card, which is, it's not a whole lot of his own doing. It just kind of is what it is. But the U.S. Championship, despite the fact that we were both kind of petitioning to an extent that like the U.S. Championship needed to escape the Jacob Fatu / Solo Sikoa vortex, right? And introducing something new into it, something fresh into it, was exactly what it needed. And we got that with Sammy. Yes, Sammy has a lot of history with both of them, so it wasn't like you're introducing a whole new element, but bringing Sammy back into the mix and then having Sammy win that title off of Solo, I remember thinking to myself, well, this could be good because Sammy can kind of introduce this championship into the orbit of a bunch of new people who are not Solo and Jacob, right? Jacob can be free to do some other things, and we can, take what Solo's doing with the MFTs and we can branch that off into some other stuff. Now, obviously, we didn't foresee Jacob Fatu getting injured and having to go away, right? And then we do have the MFTs in their, what I think is, pretty awesome face paint going head to head with other tag teams like the Wyatt Six, and, hopefully they get away from the Wyatt Six soon. But Halloween is tomorrow. So, hopefully after Halloween and we get into November, we can just kind of like strip those titles from the Wyatt Six and then send them back to development to figure some things out. But yeah, like they're doing their thing. Sammy has dropped the title to Ilya. And now it just kind of feels like the U.S. title is kind of back to what the U.S. title has legitimately been for WWE for a while, which is it's that title that we hand to people when we don't really know what we're doing with them. And
I mean, at least it's on TV now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going something, and people are fighting for it and seemingly want it. So, I mean, I think it's a step up as far as the title goes, but we can't do open challenges forever.
No, not if you want that title to mean something. And that's the thing. Like when Solo was pursuing that title, it kind of felt like it was starting to mean something. You know what I mean? Like it started to feel like it meant something. And surprised to say, like I wish there was more Solo Sikoas around the U.S. Championship. Like I wish there was more people who were really like that was their precious. You know what I mean? And for a while, that's what it felt like for Solo. So I think it added some dimensions to other people trying to take that away from him, whether it was Jacob or whether it was Sammy, right?
Well, I think we can honestly, and not to cut you off, but I think Ilya is a great character to do that because he's in the spot where he can, because he's newer, he can really value that U.S. title. And if he treats it like something that's a big deal and he can flesh out that character and start drawing, not that he doesn't get good reactions, but, real big reactions, then other people will care about the title. I think Ilya is a performer, and at the stage of his career where he can do that, we've just got to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we got to have him say that essentially, like, and get away from the open challenges like we've been saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So let me ask you a wrestling nerd question, and then we'll get to the rest of SmackDown and Raw's card, and then we'll jump right into Saturday's main event. But it just popped into my head, and listen, here at the Lariat Lounge, this show is hosted by Skeens and I, and we are legitimate wrestling fans. So you're going to get these nerd moments from time to time. I hope you come here for that stuff. But so let me ask you something. When it comes to championships and making championships matter, right? And more specifically, making a championship title run matter. Who do you think does it better? Baby faces or heels?
I don't think it matters. I really don't. And I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but I think it's more about how the story is executed and how the title is presented in any given story. I think you can do it well and poorly with both. I think I think you could always, there's a little more to play with heel characters. It's easier to do stuff with heel characters because you don't have to follow any rules. So maybe that's why it gets executed better sometimes. But I don't think inherently one is better than the other. I think it may be easier to execute with heels sometimes.
Okay.
Because they can be in a position where they can do anything to succeed. And by going to whatever lengths to keep the title, in turn, you start to think, oh, if he's going to cheat this hard, this title must be important to him, if you get what I'm saying.
I do. 1,000%. And I think that's why, in my opinion, I think the answer is simple. And it may be what seems to be the obvious answer for some, but sometimes I think the obvious answer is the right answer. And that is heels. I think that, and I think I've always felt like heels do more for the legitimacy of a championship than a babyface ever could. I think the babyface, by definition, is the party who benefits from that building. They're always going to be the person who benefits from that building because your major payoff is having your babyface give the heel their comeuppance, right? or for the babyface to finally triumph over the towering, imposing, or nefarious heel, right? That is the quintessential conclusion to the arc. That is finishing the story, right? There's no better example of that than the WrestleMania that you and I were present for, WrestleMania 40, right? That was the quintessential conclusion to a story arc where the quintessential good guy in Cody beat the quintessential bad guy in Roman, right? And that was the pièce de résistance. That was the part of the story that everyone got to cheer for, be happy about, and then we got to see Cody as champion, right? But all of the what's the word? The gravity, the weight behind that championship was built on the back of 4 years of the Roman Empire. You know what I mean? The bloodline that was built there. And you had challenger after challenger that was trying to topple the Mad King. You know what I mean? And they couldn't do it. And Roman was the one who built that title, built that championship into something that was so monumentous that it needed a superhuman effort by the superhero Cody Rhodes to dethrone him. You know what I mean? And now, taking nothing away from Cody, because I think Cody is a great storyteller. And I think that when you write stories well, you get these great story arcs. And I think you can have a babyface champion that has a very impactful run, right? A very rich storytelling run. I think you can absolutely do that. I just think you do more world building with the title when it's around the waist of a heel. But that's just my opinion. But you know, I had a little nerd moment, and I wanted to kind of see what your thoughts were on that.
I get it. Still think for me it goes back to you. A lot of times you're allowed to color outside the lines a little more with heels. They're allowed to do more, and you know, if you can open up the playbook a little bit, sometimes you can have a little more success.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, that's where you get the tweeners, right? That's where you get the Austins, you know, during the Attitude Era, who were, you know, their championship runs were incredible. But they also got to kind of paint between the lines, like you stated. So, yeah, I mean, I think it always takes two, right? It takes the two dance partners to make something work. You can have a really good champion who's a babyface, and if they don't have any good dance partners, then you kind of get a Tiffany Stratton run. Like, Tiffany's not a bad champion, but when you look at the competition that she's had, and you have had really little narrative storytelling going on, the best thing to happen with her legitimately is what happened last week on SmackDown. Jade back, right? And Jade coming down to the ring, and she first ran off who was it? Chelsea Green and Alba Fire?
No, Julia and Kiana James.
Because Kiana James
it was
had the
Tiffany versus
match.
Kiana James. Yeah.
Which
was a good match.
It was just a regular match. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty good match. But Tiffany wins, and she runs off. Jade comes out. She runs off Kiana James and Julia. And then she proceeds to beat the brakes off of Tiffany Stratton. And I thought that was great. Obviously, it was a wee bit telegraphed there because she did the whole thing in the ring afterwards where it's like she raises Tiffany's hand. And it's like, when did y'all become like respected frenemies or, you know, enemies that, you know, you learn to, you know, a modicum of respect for through trials and battle? That was never you all before you took a little hiatus, Jade. So it was a little telegraphed, but at the same time, that beatdown felt really good. And even the angle at the end where she stomped her leg against the stairs.
The stomp was cool, especially when they showed a replay later in the night with a different angle, and it looked real brutal from that angle.
Yeah, and Tiffany gave a nice yelp when that happened too, which that always sells it really well. And Jade had a nice little backstage segment with Kathy Kelly backstage.
Mhm.
Yeah, she had a nice little segment there, setting up Saturday night's main event. Which we'll get to the card in a second. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and get to the card now, because I feel like in talking about the card, we will get to the you will get to the beats of SmackDown and Raw, because it feels like everything that was on SmackDown and Raw, if I'm scrolling through right now, taking a look at everything.
For the most part, I think the most important things are in those matches aside from the women's tag title.
True. Very true. Is the card up on WWE's website? I'm sure it is.
That I do not know.
I'm pulling up right now. Let's see. Shows. Saturday night's main event. Saturday, November 1st. All right, let's see. Preview. Oh, okay. Yeah, they got it right here. Okay. All righty. So let's see. Okay. So let's start with what is probably going to be. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah. So with Cody and Drew, I wonder what goes on last. Okay. So let's start with what's probably going to be the opener. Intercontinental Championship match. Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Rusev. Triple threat match for the championship. So Dom cannot run anymore. He has been ducking and he's been dodging and he's been utilizing the Judgment Day without really paying it forward to anybody. And honestly, he's kind of alienated himself to a certain extent, particularly from
that's
Finn.
Definitely what they're playing at. Because on Monday he was again complaining about how there was a number one contenders match when JD and Finn just lost their titles, and Roxanne and Raquel are getting ready for Roxanne's match. They're definitely playing up the angle that the Judgment Day is getting tired of Dom only seemingly worrying about Dom.
Yeah, for sure. And he also then, picks up the phone and calls in a little backup. His boys, the Americanos,
Yes.
to help him out. And that's how he, secures his ability to not lose his title. Was that a title match on Monday? I don't think it was.
It was Penta and Rusev had a number one contenders match. And Dom made the classic heel mistake of, if I ruin the number one contenders match, there will be no number one contender.
Because that's how it works. That's how the rules work.
Despite he hasn't watched wrestling for the past 20 years and has not understood that if the number one contenders match gets screwed up, everyone becomes the number one contender.
Yeah. He, I think in the new contracts that they sign, I think they're barred from watching old programming. So the writers can write this stuff in. Because I'm sure when they told him what was going to happen ahead of time, he was shocked that they were going to go that route. But it's because, they cut off all their, accounts to, watching YouTube and old matches. So, yeah, definitely. He could have benefited from the archives on WWE. What was the old site, the one that you love so much that you missed?
The network.
Oh, yeah.
The WWE network is by far the greatest thing ever.
What's different?
Oh, right now you can't. Everything's so there's no more Raw on Peacock.
Okay.
Because it's on Netflix, but Netflix doesn't have the entire library up. It's just kind of piecemeal in some of it. So Raw's on Netflix, and not everything got over to Peacock in the first place, and Peacock just navigating it isn't good for, because it's not, they don't, specialize it for WWE. And WWE programming is a lot different than, other serials they have. So, it's very hard to figure out, okay, I want to see Royal Rumble season 26. Well, what fucking year is season 26? Who knows? They can't just say, here's Royal Rumble 2004, 2005. No, it has to be by seasons, because that's how Peacock's set up. It's just, it just has sucked.
So WWE, aside from Raw, does not have a presence on Netflix?
No, they do, and that's even weirder. There's like just some random stuff.
Okay.
Like it'll
Because
just be like random pay-per-views, but it's not like a full library of anything. It's just
no,
very piecemeal.
so I pulled up Netflix as you were talking, right? And I just typed in WWE, and what I get is obviously Raw, right? And they've got Unreal up here, but they've got Raw Vault. Then they've
Yes.
got like the superstar profiles. They've got Raw Classic. Obviously the WWE like documentaries and stuff like that. WWE Top 10. What is this? Road to WrestleMania. They've got some things up here, but yeah, it's a little
It's just
scattered,
random. Yeah.
and obviously it's centered around Raw, so
Yes.
there isn't any SmackDown stuff anywhere.
No. SmackDown is still on Peacock.
And Raw Vault only goes back 12 seasons, so I guess that's what 12 years.
Yes, but just you can look at it. It's not like I don't know, it's just not good.
Yeah.
We had it great with the network, and we didn't realize that.
Well, to be fair, I think there's probably more people like you who probably did realize it, but WWE doesn't care. Like,
Right. I mean, I'm probably the minority. That
honestly, dude, you might. So I get what you're saying because there are probably plenty of people like me who have generally very little desire to go back and watch a bunch of older wrestling programming. But there are probably plenty of people like you as well who appreciated the network and they appreciated what the network was providing, just this archive of events from across WWE's history, along with the other promotions that WWE is acquired. Because we used to have access to a lot of the old territorial stuff, and you had WCW content.
which I think is all that's still on Peacock, but it's not the easiest to find.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't gone over to Peacock and really checked. Listen, ever since Netflix acquired Raw, and could we ever watch SmackDown on Peacock?
Yes, but it was a little tougher. But yeah.
Well, you couldn't watch Raw on Peacock. You can watch it live.
Yeah, when Raw was going up, it was the same thing as the network, which is like a month after it airs.
Okay.
It'll be on there, which is what SmackDown is now since it's USA.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So, yeah, I guess the network was probably the better way to kind of acquire some of the older content. But yeah, I mean, listen, if it's still out there and people can still grab it on Peacock, like I said, WWE doesn't care. If they did, they would have just kept the network around and, And then if they wanted to do some deals for some live access to Raw or SmackDown with Netflix, they could have done that. But they made a lot of money selling the library to, what's it, NBC? It's a parent company of Peacock. So they
NBC Universal.
Yeah, so they got a lot of money from selling that library to NBC Universal for the amount of years that they had it, and that's where their heads at. Although, fun fact, a coworker of mine who found it really cool that A, I was a wrestling fan, and B, that we have this podcast, right? He gifted me something, and I meant to tell you about this, but he gifted me this WrestleMania VHS vintage box set. And
Okay.
I'll have to take a picture of this and send it to you. But it is a box set that contains cassette tapes of WrestleManias 1 through 14 on cassette.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. When they came out with I think they called it the WrestleMania Anthology. It was right after WrestleMania 21. I had the DVD set, which was just came in like this gold reflective thing, and he had four cases with five WrestleManias each, and then they hid WrestleMania 21 in like the top piece.
Yeah.
But I remember I still got it back at my parents' house, but obviously the days of watching DVDs to watch old wrestling events are done.
Yeah, what are DVDs, man? Like, it's funny because I remember when DVDs put a bullet in VHS tapes. And, then Blu-rays came along and killed DVDs. And now streaming has killed any physical ownership of
Yep,
anything. I just sent you a
pretty
text of that
much.
box set. Um, but yeah, man,
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
isn't it cool
Yeah,
though?
yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I don't know where the dude, he's a thrifter. And so like, and when I say thrifter, bro, I mean like a thrifter. Like that's damn near a side job for this dude. Like he thrifts and sells things on eBay and he be making some money, dude. Like I think he sold like some painting that he found in like a pawn shop for like $250. And he found like this signed book set from some author. I know it was some author. I think it was Stephen King. He found this book set.
Oh, damn.
For the signed book set from Stephen King. I think he sold that for like $450 on eBay. Like that was wild. But he be finding stuff all the time. But yeah, so back to what were we talking about? Penta and Rusev and Dom. So who you got, man? Who do you think walks out of this one as IC champ? I know this is like a hard pivot back. But,
that was abrupt. But,
listen, we go off on tangents. But do you think this is the moment that WWE takes the IC title off of Dom?
Don't think so.
Me either.
I don't think there's been enough build. I think he'll find a way to weasel his way out, maybe with the Americanos again, maybe not. But I think it'll be fun. Penta and Rusev was a really good match. Rusev, since I disparaged him, has been pretty good. Not that he wasn't good, but he's been more interesting to me the past month and a half or so.
I agree.
And I thought him and Penta have really good had a really good match, and maybe we could continue that. But no, I don't think this doesn't feel like the time for Dom. At least to me. What do you think?
So I agree. I think that WWE is probably not going to take the title off of Dom right now. However, if it were up to me, I'm looking at this slightly different. Or at least I'm entertaining the possibilities, right? So Dom's favor with the Judgment Day currently is at an all-time low. And the idea that the Americanos are going to be Dom's new amigos and, to help him retain his title, that is one thing. You could definitely do that. And you could definitely lean into the idea that the Americanos help him to retain the title. And now he is rolling tighter with the Americanos than he is with the Judgment Day, because the Judgment Day don't seem to have his back and they don't like him much anyway. Right? You could definitely go that route. But I was also thinking so what if the Americanos come to get involved in this match and you get one of those situations where, well, it's a triple threat. So is there no DQs? I guess there's no DQs.
There are no DQs.
So the ref is not going to eject them from ringside.
Well, I think they can still be ejected from ringside.
Okay.
No, they just probably couldn't be no one could be disqualified for it.
Right.
The ramifications.
So if he ejects them from ringside and they decide they're just not going to go,
no one can be disqualified because of it.
Okay. So there's two ways in my mind, if we're going an alternative route, that this could go, right? One of those ways is you have the Americanos come out to the ring mad early in the match, right? And they just blatantly try to throw the match for Dom. And the ref is like, no, we're not having any of that. You guys are barred from ringside. Boom. Throws them out. Dom has no backup because JD and Finn are not going to come to his aid, right? And Dom drops the IC title to one of these guys. I would say if you drop it to someone, you could have fun with the idea of putting Rusev against some interesting people, right? And giving Rusev a little bit more room to shine. But I also think Penta has kind of been back a little bit longer than Rusev. And he's been put in a lot of prominent positions that putting the title on him could be akin to the way I kind of felt about LA Knight last year, which was you really should have taken the opportunity to kind of strike while that proverbial iron was hot and go ahead and put the IC title on Penta, right? That's one way. The other way is, let's say the same scenario happens and the Americanos come out to the ring and they get barred, right? Dom is out here by himself. JD and Finn are not going to be anywhere in sight, right? Dom is going to be on his own. He's going to have a good match, but at some point, he's going to, be on the back foot, right? You know who comes out to help Dom? I'll tell you who. Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez comes out to help Dom, and Dom wins the match. He retains the IC belt with Roxanne's help, right? Now, Roxanne and Raquel, they don't have a match on Saturday Night's Main Event,
correct?
Do they? Okay.
They do
so
not.
You have Roxanne help him win. I think maybe this sets up the return of Liv Morgan, because you kind of have Raquel also saying to Roxanne on multiple occasions now, don't worry about Dom. We've got our own thing to deal with, right? Roxanne is always the one who's asking about it, asking about him. Maybe she should do something, right? And maybe she goes out on her own and she helps Dom win, right? This starts adding this little tension between Roxanne and Raquel, but more importantly, this angle between Dominic and Roxanne. Because at this point, in kayfabe world, guys, Dom has been pretty faithful to Liv. He had, you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't been looking sideways at all at Roxanne or anyone else. But now maybe he starts seeing Roxanne different, right? And Roxanne is leaning into this. Raquel absolutely does not like this, right? But Dominic's letting it happen. And then maybe a little ways down the line, we get a situation where Roxanne is right there with Dom, and it's looking like to the crowd that maybe they're about to do the old Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio thing and do the nose nuzzle or even a kiss. And then boom, Liv's music hits and Liv's back, right? And you set this whole thing up between Liv and Roxanne. Raquel is in the mix. Dom is on the back foot. It's a great way, in my opinion, to reinvigorate this story. Not that it needs it, because like we've said time and time again, whether it's on a simmer or it's red hot, the most consistent through arc in any story since the Bloodline has dealt primarily with the Judgment Day. And they've just kept this on with the gas either firmly pressed or, slightly pressed for quite a while now. And Liv has got to be coming back at some point relatively soon. You would think.
Well, you would think. You would think, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I do think that Liv Morgan at some point factors into Dom losing the Intercontinental title. You would think, or the Judgment Day breakup or whatever. At some point, Liv Morgan's got to come back and get involved. But yeah. I have no idea when that is. I'm no longer waiting for it because seemingly, who knows? Who knows what the deal is?
Yeah, like, it's possible based on the time frame that we've got now. And the Royal Rumble is usually when? In January?
Yes. Yeah. End of January.
I mean, gosh. I mean, look, we're right on the cusp of November. Like, do you hold Liv off of TV for 2 more months to make, like, her return at the Royal Rumble be huge? Like, I could see a world where that happens, but I'm also kind of like, why would you do that? And particularly if the Judgment Day story could use Liv. Because I think right now they've been doing a good job with the Judgment Day story, but I also kind of feel like we're at this almost a make or break point with the Judgment Day story. Like, you're building to a crescendo that, yes, I understand if you hold off that last final drumbeat, right, and you build the anticipation, you can get the crowd even more involved. But I think there is a certain point where it's like you've passed the point of no return. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like the returns that you're going to get from this are not going to be as big as what they could be because you drew this out a little too long. And I don't think the Judgment Day is there just yet. But I also kind of feel like at some point, man, like you're building this up to the point where Finn and JD are going to have some sort of legitimate falling out with Dom. And it's like the more you stave this off, the more it kind of feels like you don't actually know what you're doing with them yet. Or you're in a holding pattern waiting for Liv. And if that's the case, my God, please don't make it January when she comes back. You know, I came up with what I've said about Dom and Roxanne and Raquel just now off the top of my head. And I feel like that would be an incredible way to go about this storyline if Liv is healthy, right? But then, like, what are injuries right now? Because, I feel like Bianca's been out forever with a broken finger. And, I don't know, unless that thing is just not healing right, or maybe they're just giving her some time away, I don't know. But so you've got Dom going over in this triple threat?
Yeah.
I think if I had to bet, and I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I think that WWE would keep that title on Dom. But I would love to see a Roxanne interference to help him do that. I think that would be an awesome way for him to keep that belt. But we were talking about this match earlier, right? Or we were talking about the participants earlier. So Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. I'm going to go and tell you right now, Skeener, I think that this should be Tiffany Stratton's last match as champion. I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you. Mm-hmm.
I think Tiffany Stratton has had a decent run, but I think that it has had way more lows than it has highs. And I feel like from all the things we've said in previous episodes, which is no secret to anyone, Skeeter and I both feel like, unfortunately, when they took Naomi out of this picture, a lot of the juice went with it. And Tiffany has struggled almost this entire run. And the only thing I think that's really been peaking with this feud or with this title run has been her lingering feud with Jade. And so now that Jade is back and she is on the warpath, what we saw on SmackDown, right? When Jade came in and beat the brakes off Tiffany.
Yeah, SmackDown.
Okay, yeah. That to me was the most interesting thing to happen within Tiffany Stratton's title run since the last time Jade was involved. And that was that triple threat with Nia where she got her face busted open.
Yes. Which really, I don't know, adds to the look. I thought the scar and the little like kind of just small red line standing out on her face that made her look
notice it.
More badass than usual. Really?
No, I didn't notice it.
Oh, my eye was drawn to it for sure.
So, is it across her eyebrow?
Yeah, it's where she got busted open.
Okay.
She's still got a pretty good looking scar from it.
I'm looking at the picture right now that's on WWE.com. I'm zooming in. Oh, I can see it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a supervillain type scar she's got going on.
I do see it. Okay. Oh, you know what? This makes sense now with her attire. She looks like she's channeling her inner leather-clad supervillain. That makes more sense now. Okay, bet. Yeah, so I definitely think Jade is walking away with the WWE Women's Championship. But your thoughts, my friend?
I mean, she's got to, right? Like, if she doesn't win this match, like, without something, like, happening, like, you just cut the legs out of this heel turn. Like, don't you? Because
I agree.
You got to. Like, this is the time. Otherwise, why do you bring Jade back and turn her heel if she's just going to turn around and lose? Because you didn't need to make this match right away. Like, other things could have gone in this slot. So I do think this is the time. It needs to be the time. If not, you'll hear things about it next week, I'm sure. But it's gotta be Jade.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it's definitely got to be Jade. And I think that you're going to have, and this is the sad truth, I think that you're going to have not a difficult time, but it's going to be an interesting challenge figuring out how to book either woman in this situation as the loser. I'm not talking about book them within the match. I'm talking about what do you do booking wise with them after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever the loser would be. I definitely think, however, you would have a much harder time figuring out how to book Jade taking the L and what she does afterwards than you do Tiffany. Because Tiffany, I think well, for one, we've seen more so, in my opinion, than with Jade, how good Tiffany can be in a role that is not the spotlight role, right? When she was rolling with Nia Jax, when Nia was a champion and she had the Money in the Bank briefcase, or even before that, right? Tiffany showed that she can play the non-starring role in a scene, and she can do it really well. And I think Jade has shown that she can do it too, but it's just a matter of who stands to benefit more from this storyline wise moving forward. And that's just clear. I mean, this one doesn't really require a lot of pontification, right? Jade just would benefit so much more from winning this title than Tiffany would. And like you said, with the U.S. Open Challenge, right? We've seen Tiffany Stratton defend her championship against Nia Jax, against Charlotte, against Trish Stratus. She's defended against who else has she defended against? Is that it?
I think that's about it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's been more, but Jade, Nia, Charlotte,
and Trish.
Trish, yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she defended against, and she did the champion versus champion match.
Yeah, but
which she lost.
Without, yeah.
But no,
I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe that's it.
And listen, even if there were others that we can't remember,
I mean, I think Naomi probably had a match for the title at some point, right? Maybe.
Did she? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm
just gonna look.
I think she did, because I feel like I don't know. I thought like she had a championship match right before the night she cashed in, or the last match she had before she cashed in and won the Women's World Championship. She was still in the WWE Women's Championship picture.
When did she win the title? She
cashed in that
January.
Oh, when did?
Okay, so I'm looking. Yeah, so I'm looking. She apparently beat Bayley in a title match back in January.
Didn't even remember that.
Then I see defends against Nia, beats Charlotte at WrestleMania, beats Nia a bunch on house shows too. Beats Trish, Nia and Jade. Yeah, so that's it. There you go. It's just been.
So aside from Bayley, that's the one we forgot.
Yeah,
okay. Look, there ain't but so many women who are up at the top of the card when it comes to either show. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago as well, right? Where you just have this orbit of certain characters who are orbiting certain tiers of the ladder. And I feel like, for what it's worth, Tiffany has wrestled all of them. And suffice it to say, 1, the title run has not been the greatest. 2, unless you're planning on calling other people up to that rung of the ladder, what are we just going to keep repeating the same, the same pairings in these matches over and over? And I'm just trying to think about that from like a booking standpoint. But from a storytelling standpoint, like we said, dude, Jade has way more to gain from winning this match moving forward than Tiffany does. And Tiffany can segue into other title scenes if you really want to put her right back into one, which I highly advise against. But you could put her in the orbit of some other people that we have not seen her really interact with, at least in a while. And so, yeah, I think in light of freshening this whole thing up, and in the light of what you've always preached, which is, dude, if you're going to do a heel turn, there needs to be a payoff. It needs to matter somehow. You need to show why the heel turn was done in the first place. Because if all you're going to do is lose.
If you have plans for it. I mean, I guess if you just want to turn her heel and don't care about the perception of her, go ahead, have her lose. But man, if she just straight up loses after turning heel, like that Talk about being cold and taking the steam off someone. That'll do it.
I don't disagree. So I guess we're both with Jade here on this one, and we both pick Dom. Yes, I hope Jade is the winner here. But
yeah, it's almost like I'm more scared of what would happen if it's not Jade.
It's interesting you say that, because you, in that instant right there, Skeener, sounded like a lot of people who I have heard commenting about the next match on the card, and that they are scared of the outcome and the ramifications of what could happen if the winner of this match is not who they want it to be. And that is CM Punk versus Jey Uso for the vacated World Heavyweight Championship. Now, can you guess, Skeener, who the internet appears to feel like would be a grave mistake if this person won the match?
I mean, I know the internet hates Jey Uso for some reason, but other than that, I don't really know. I haven't seen anything, which is probably for the best.
Well, you weren't wrong. If you were thinking that the internet's thoughts on their feelings toward Jey Uso would somehow be tied to their thoughts on the mistake winner, then you're right in the correct ballpark, because I've seen some videos, which I did not watch, that are pondering on the mistake that WWE can make with regards to certain outcomes of Saturday night's main event. And they did not just have Jey Uso as a mistake. They also had a returning Brock Lesnar as a mistake regarding any of the matches. But specifically for this one, Jey Uso winning the title would be a mistake. I personally don't really understand the logic if I'm really trying to, think my way around it. One, because I'm not a Jey Uso hater, and I like Jey. And I agree with Jay's sentiments. I think he did some sort of interview. I think it was posted by WWE. So take that for the shoot or work that you may think it is. But he definitely made reference to the fact that he is, and I'm not quoting him, paraphrasing here, that he is tired of everybody thinking that he's just an entrance.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. I am not one of those people who thinks that he is just an entrance. I think he's got a fire entrance. And, I think that that's definitely a draw there. But I think Jey, definitely in this arc that he's had since he lost the World Heavyweight Championship, has really shown that he has some depth to him. And the storyline that he's had through the bloodline over the last, now 4+ years, right? But then also his own arc has really lent to this character whose story we can really watch progress and see where he's come with these highs and then this incredible low and then this rise up and becoming the champion only to lose it again. And now he is this guy who is desperate to define himself again with the thing that he felt like defined him in the first place. And you've had other characters around him who have pointed these things out to him, including Punk in their interaction prior to Saturday night's main event, where he definitely told the fans in attendance that it's no secret that he and Jey are friends. And, come Saturday night, they're going to be a fight. And he doesn't want little Roman to show up. And he certainly doesn't want the Jey Uso who's not sure of himself to show up. Because if that Jey shows up, he's going to catch one. And, Jey, he does this thing so well, Skeener. Like, he has this look when people are talking to him like that reminds me of like that angry look that a child gets when they're getting pissed off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he does it so well. It's like his arms are straight. He's kind of got this like furrowed brow, and he's looking like he's just clenching his fists. And it's like he's just brimming over with like emotions, and he does it really well. And he pretty much just says to Punk, "All right, let's go, Punk." And it was enough to get the point across. And of course he does his, 4 letters, 1 word. And Like, I think he is really just blossoming into a bona fide superstar. And I think WWE is really telling a good story between himself and Jimmy, with Roman in this whole thing. And I, for one, don't feel like it would be a mistake if Jay walked away with the World Heavyweight Championship. Do I think he's going to walk away with the World Heavyweight Championship? I don't know, man. I feel like it could go either way. What do you think?
So we're, as if we've got our longtime listeners out there, they're not going to be shocked that we agree. I don't know. It really could go either way. I want Jay to win, though, and I want Jay to win doing something a little underhanded.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that makes for the best story, because it follows up, and it would follow, because seemingly Monday the focus from Punk is like, how much does this title mean to you? How far are you willing to go? I saw you chuck your brother out of the ring with no care, so how much further are you willing to push it? And I think the best thing for the story is to keep going, and let's see how far Jay can go. Because I think we've got an edge back to Jay.
Yes.
And I think we can keep sharpening it. And that would be, at least for my money, the most interesting thing to do. Now, Punk can win, and Punk would be a great champion. And like we've been talking, like, is there a reason to hold off the Punk stuff if we're not going to get Seth at WrestleMania? That weighs in too. Like I could see either way, and I see the pros for either way.
Yeah.
I'm going with Jay to win because that's what I want to happen. Because I want Jay to win it in an underhanded way and see where that goes with his relationship with Jimmy, see how that goes over with CM Punk, with LA Knight, who he said he's getting the next guy. He made that clear, even though he got speared out of the planet. And Braun Breaker just continuing to be insane. Like, what a stud. What a match that was. But yeah, I think I want Jay to win. I want him to give in to the darkness to win a little bit.
You know what? I honestly think I'm going to follow suit here. I think I'm going to just vote on this one with my feelings first, because I feel like with Punk, you could do that, right? You could put the title on Punk. And we talked about this last week, which is if Seth is out of commission, possibly, until, obviously till next year, but, maybe you hold him off for a return at the Rumble or, obviously before Mania, hopefully. Right. So if he's not going to be in the picture, how much do you benefit from putting the title on Punk now if A, he can't take it off of Seth, and B, he wins it and it's not at Mania? Because I don't think there was a world where if Seth did not get injured, that the championship match that Punk was going to win that title was going to be anywhere other than WrestleMania. Like, I feel like you gave him his WrestleMania moment. Now you give him his WrestleMania win. Right. And you've been building this great story between Punk and Rollins and, the relationship that Heyman has with both of them. So I feel like that was a long running story, and obviously injuries are unexpected. And so now you're pivoting. I think you still aim for giving Punk his moment at WrestleMania, which means don't give him the title right now. Like, it just requires you to move into programming with someone else that may not be, necessary. Particularly because LA Knight has already staked his claim as being next up. Do I think LA Knight is going to be champion anytime soon? No. That doesn't mean that I don't think he's going to be champion soon enough. Just not soon. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's going to be the first challenger for whoever the new champion is. And I think that the new champion is going to retain, because though LA Knight has been interwoven into a lot of stories, I think maybe you're building something for LA Knight for, a future championship, obviously, where it's like he's always hovering around his picture and he just comes up short, right? So that when he does win, the crowd is really behind him. So it seems like it makes the most sense from a storytelling perspective as well. Put it on Jay, because of all the parties right now, because Rollins out, he's the only one who's got a real story that's got real heat behind it, you know? And it's like, unless you're bringing Breaker into the mix, you know, I think putting the title on Jay is probably the smartest thing to do as well, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you for the Punk reasoning too, is that what do you gain from throwing it on Punk here? And more, what do you take away from the burgeoning, developing Jay if you just give him another setback? I think we've seen enough setbacks
Yeah.
for Jey Uso that let's have him get the success back and see where that takes him with his relationships with pretty much this entire roster. Has an opinion and has crossed paths with Jay either at Champion Jay or trying to get back to Champion Jay, and see where it goes. So I'm hoping Jay wins it.
Yeah, me too. I think that would be the smarter decision. That's what my heart wants to. And, you know, listen, if the internet is mad about it, that's fine, because the internet's always mad about something. But I think when you give them a good story, like with most things, you know, the tides will turn with them as well, and they'll be back on board. Because, yeah, like you said, I think Jay's just got a really strong story, and I really want to see what we get with Jay and Jimmy. Like, I have not been this invested in Jimmy Uso in a long time, but I'm clearly invested right now in how this whole thing is affecting Jimmy, right? And the fact that if he wins this title, Jay does, it legitimizes and concretes everything that Jay has been hearing from people like Roman, and to a certain extent, like you stated earlier, even from Punk, right? How far are you willing to go? And he's willing to take it there to get what it is that he wants. And, you know, it will be interesting to see how that dynamic may shift or change between Jimmy and Jay, which would legitimately make me want to possibly see down the road a Jimmy versus Jay one-on-one match again, which would, I think, be much better than the first Jimmy and Jay match. So, yeah. And then let Punk win the championship at Mania. Who knows who's going to have it by that time? You know what I mean? Now, I would hate for it to be a situation where Rollins comes back and beats Jay for the championship just so that you can put Rollins versus Punk at Mania. But I don't know. I guess I could.
Brock Lesnar.
What about him? What about him?
Wouldn't you like to see Punk take the title off Brock Lesnar at Mania?
No.
I would.
Because that would require Brock to beat somebody for a championship. And I don't want him to beat anybody for a championship. Like, let's say Punk wins. That would mean that Punk would have to drop the title that he just won to Lesnar to beat him at Mania. I don't want Lesnar to do that. I don't want Punk to lose the title after, you know, a hot second again. I could see stories you could build off that, but I don't know if that would be worth.
I'm not saying immediately, but what if we get somewhere to where Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman have the title, and now Punk has to conquer them at Mania? I don't think it's a bad backup plan.
I just think that it wouldn't be Mania 42. Like, if you were to do that, it would probably be Mania 43 in Saudi. I mean, that's the check that Brock would want. But
yeah, but Brock is front and center on that new poster. So
yeah.
And all those teasers, didn't you saw his cowboy boots walking in the teaser? That didn't do anything for you?
No.
Did it for me.
I feel like that would be
Brock is always going to be our main differing point.
Yeah, and then that's cool. That's the one thing that the fans of the show can
at least we can disagree on something.
That we will disagree on is Brock. But no, I think. Listen, I get it. If I'm taking myself personally,
did you see all those teasers though that they were posting, and people were like, "You didn't see them?"
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. So for a couple days, like the WWE socials were just posting these videos with no captions or anything. It was just people walking into a room, and it was just showing their feet,
Yeah.
and then just walking into a room. And there were some other teasers, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, what is this? What is this?" And people were like, "Okay, we know, we've got it. Chris Jericho's coming back," and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is probably just something dumb. And it was just for this new WrestleMania poster. But when they were showing people in, like walking in, one was very clearly Brock because it was his cowboy boots.
Okay.
And it just did it for me.
So the other feet of people walking in, were those identifiable
I'm going
as other
to
people's
send
feet
you
too?
the poster. No, I couldn't before I saw them. I could only identify Brock by the boots, which is why I loved it so much.
So then how are we sure it's Brock?
Oh, because I just sent you the picture of the poster because they did a reveal, and it was 4 of our big stars walking in to gamble at a table in Vegas.
Okay. So I see it. So
I'm going to
Lesnar,
send you this video,
Punk,
and then I
Roman.
want you again to tell me, how do you know it's Brock? Because you know it's Brock when you see it.
I mean, okay, I'm just looking at the picture now, and okay.
And what a tag main event that would be.
What,
It's not
Brock
gonna be
Brock
that.
and Punk versus Cody
Brock
and
and
Roman?
Punk. Oh yeah, give it to me.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see. Okay, so all right. If I'm being fair, this is a cool poster.
It is.
I just don't. Okay, so let me put my creative hat back on. Okay, Rollins is out. Who knows how long he's going to be out? The hope is that we get him back before WrestleMania, but we don't know. We just don't know. I could understand WWE doing the old Pivarooski, okay, and calling in a favor to Brock. It would make sense to have the teasers leading to this poster reveal that has Brock and Roman and Cody and Punk, you know what I mean, around this, what are they playing? Craps? Looks like craps.
I don't know. That's the thing. Someone pointed that out. They did all this, and they have seemingly forgot to bring cards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, unless they've got
and nobody brought the cards.
Unless
there's no dice either.
I mean, look, unless the craps are actually, this looks like a card table. Yeah, they just got all their chips in.
Yeah, they forgot to bring cards.
Yeah, I guess they just sat around and pushed chips around. But let's say they pivot and they're telling a different story. How do we get here with Brock, particularly with Breaker and Bronson Reed, still with Paul Heyman, right? You bring in Brock, and listen, Roman's in this picture too. Roman's not even a part of any of these people's stories. None.
No, all in all, I think this is just a poster, and you put 4 of your biggest names on the poster.
Well, I get that part, right? But what I'm saying is you typically put people on the poster who have something to do with the event, right?
Yeah, all 4 of these guys are going to be a big part of this event.
And that's the thing. I could see how 3 of them would be. Like, that's the point that I'm making, right? Is that I could see how 3 of these people would be. Cody is the WWE champion, right? Roman is freaking Roman. And he is in a active storyline right now of his own and with Jay, right? Then you've got Punk. Punk is actively in a storyline. He's actively pursuing the world championship. Brock, what? What is Brock doing? He's not doing anything. So why put him on this poster?
Well, one, because he's one of your biggest names, and he's going to be involved in WrestleMania. WrestleMania is like nearly half a year away. I know it seems like we're getting close, but we've got over 5 months until WrestleMania. So like we're far away from it. Brock's going to get involved. I don't know how, but I want you to watch what I just sent you. And you tell me you wouldn't immediately know those were Brock Lesnar's feet and boots and jeans.
Okay, all right, let me pull this up. Oh, dude, do I have to sign into X to watch this?
Oh my, you don't have to. You can do it later. But just know that it is very noticeable that these feet belong to Brock Lesnar. I could not identify the other 3 feet being Cody's, Roman's, Punk's. They showed Paul's hands. You could tell it was Paul's hands with his Hall of Fame ring.
Uh-huh.
But Brock Lesnar, especially because he's wearing jeans and everyone else was wearing suit pants.
Yeah.
But like the jeans and cowboy boots were a dead giveaway.
You know, honestly, I'd have to assume that those were Cody and Roman and Punk's feet. It would make sense for Brock's feet it would make sense for the only, how am I trying to say this? It doesn't make sense for the only feet of any person who's actually involved with this be solely Brock's, and that everyone else is just like random stand-in feet. But I don't know.
People were throwing out all sorts of ideas. They're like, oh, this is because it's Paul and now we've got Brock. This is the new vision, which is like, okay, that's a fun idea, but like, it's just a WrestleMania teaser.
Well, listen, I definitely heard some rumors about Chris Jericho, and not that he's one of these people, obviously we know who they are, but I definitely heard some rumors about Chris Jericho and
yes, I have seen the dirt sheets
with AEW.
I mean, look, I don't know when, but like Chris Jericho, he's coming back at some point, and he's gonna get a surprise appearance. He's gonna go in the Hall of Fame. Like it's gonna happen.
What better place than Royal Rumble? I mean, listen, I will say this: I have always been a Jerichoholic, but I did not necessarily follow Chris Jericho a lot in AEW. That's primarily because I didn't watch a lot of AEW at all. But
same for me.
I feel like Chris Jericho has always had the knack of reinvention. And I would love to see how he reinvents himself coming back to the WWE. But, you know, if Jericho's music hits for the Rumble, oh man, that'd be sweet. I would love for him to come back, if he did come back, with some new music. Like not his old Break the Walls Down, not his AEW theme, but something new to signify this, you know, final era.
I would say if I was a betting man, which I also am not, I'd say he'd come back to Judas.
Yeah, listen,
because it would be something. He needs something that's recognizable enough. I don't think you want to do it where people have to wait a few seconds to find out it's Jericho. So you either need Judas or you need his old stuff. Like they need to know, you know, 2 notes into the song, roof needs to blow off.
Yeah, I can see it 2 different ways. So I can definitely see your point for sure, right? Either you do Break the Walls Down or you do Judas, and the crowd instantly recognizes his theme song. If you have a lot of AEW WWE crossover, right? Obviously,
I used to think that would be an issue, and then I heard the Cody pop at Mania when he came back.
Yeah,
because I was like, are enough people going to know? But enough people knew.
But I also wonder if when you cross a certain threshold, does your character and the knowledge of who you are supersede anything that you came out to? So, for instance, Jericho, I feel like if you heard the countdown and, you know, you get the 3, 2, 1, right? If music started playing and the whatever the entrance music was, it's got to be hard. Like it's got to go hard, right? And despite how you may feel about
it's like the Revival, we go hard.
Not like
all
that.
All day, all night.
Not like that.
That was them, right?
Yes, that was the Revival. You don't need to say we go hard. You just need to go hard, right? Like if the music goes hard and then the graphic pops up on the screen and it just says Jericho, dude, people are going to freaking lose it no matter what.
Well, true. Plus,
you know
you can solve it all by Jericho if he comes back with a light jacket.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he comes back with a light jacket,
there's ways around it for sure.
I'm telling you, dude, if his music hits, whatever it is, right? When Jericho flashes across the screen, the crowd is going to explode. Like they're just going to explode. And I think that's, in my opinion, it's always the best way to introduce a new theme. Like, for instance, I thought Becky Lynch, which I love her new theme. I am genuinely a fan of it. I feel like, well, she debuted that at Mania?
No, it hasn't been that long.
Okay. It was at a
SummerSlam,
PLE.
maybe?
It might have been SummerSlam.
Maybe? Or yeah, I feel
it
like
might have been SummerSlam, right? I feel like as cool as that was, people didn't recognize it. It was outside
Correct.
and the acoustics weren't all that great, right? So it didn't ring the way that it does now. However, the last time Becky Lynch went away for a while, right? When she came back, that would have been the perfect time to debut that theme song. When people are gone for a bit, you know what I'm saying? And then they return as a surprise or something. That's when you're going to guarantee to get the pop, right? And that pop will carry over what that theme music is, right? People won't recognize it, but they'll be losing their shit for Becky Lynch, right? And so I think it'll just go over well. And Jericho's been away way longer than Becky Lynch has taken a tenure away from WWE. On top of that, Jericho, you know, because he is a performer, a musician in and of himself, dude, he's got bangers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he's got a banger that he has not put in front of a wrestling crowd yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he does. And I know he owns the rights to Judas, so he could take it with him. But I wonder if there would be an easier route for him if he debuted something brand new that was also super dope for WWE, right? That did not have an affiliation to AEW. But that's neither here nor there, because there's nothing that has been speculated that has any real legs to it that states that Chris Jericho is coming back to WWE before or during the Royal Rumble. But I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you too. Whenever it happens, because I'm pretty sure it'll happen at some point, I will be excited, and we will share our excitement with all of you all on this show. Hopefully sooner rather than later when it happens.
Agreed. And then, you know, listen, and if he comes back in time for Mania, maybe they can add more boots walking up to a table, and maybe he can bring cards with him, because it seems like everyone, including Paul and Paul both forgot to bring any type of cards to this match, to this poker match. But you know what? Somebody who was at that poker table is in what may be the main event of the evening for Saturday night's main event.
No, Punk and Jay are main eventing.
That's what I hope. But when you look at the match setup on WWE.com, right?
Punk's on the poster.
Then you know what?
Unless Drew's going to win the match, and Punk, I don't know. I feel like Punk or Jay winning is the bigger thing. I never even considered that. Oh, I'm considering it big time.
You think Drew could take the title off of Cody?
I don't think it happens, but I think it could. I think it's going to happen at some point.
I like that a lot.
I think Drew is winning. Drew will have the WWE Championship before 2026. I'll say that.
That's
I'm willing
a bold
to say
prediction.
that. So you got essentially 2 months.
That's a bold prediction.
Today.
Listen, if that's the case, why not do it here? Because unless you're going to run it back at Survivor Series, when else are you going to do it?
I mean, I was thinking maybe at Survivor Series, but I have slight Cody lean here, but man, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels like they're biding time with Drew, but at some point you got to pay this off. I would think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, biding time for what exactly? Like, what are we waiting for? Honestly,
I don't know.
I think this is my opinion here. I think Cody Rhodes as the face of the company, I think it works. I think Cody Rhodes is a good champion. I also think Cody Rhodes is better when he's chasing. I think he's more interesting when he's chasing. And he just has the ability to do more things. Obviously, when you're not the top champion, you get more versatility. And listen, they can run it back at some point relatively soon. And Drew could drop that title back to Cody. Where you do that? Not entirely sure. But I didn't even think about that because I've gotten so used to Drew not being champ. But now that you say that,
I mean, are you with me at some point? Like,
I am.
Drew is going to be champ again.
I feel I'm 1000% with you that at some point he's going to be champion again. I just didn't know when. But when you mentioned that just now, I thought to myself, well, why not now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why not now? Cody.
I think it would be a good kind of shot in the arm to SmackDown.
It could be. It very well could be. And listen, if you do that, you have time between now and WrestleMania. And this is just really pie in the sky spitballing here. You have time to run this back between Drew and Cody and have Drew retain. Free up Cody to do something else. Maybe with some of those people at that poker table. Drew's not there. So maybe it frees up Drew to do another main event with someone else. Who that may be, not entirely sure. But you free that up. And then you could have Cody maybe doing something with Roman again, or maybe something with Brock if you really want to include Brock. And, you know, Punk has definitely got his dance card pretty punched if I was, you know, betting. And then who's the other person at the table? Cody. Cody needs something to do. And he's champ already. So, I mean, I could see, obviously, the world where you keep it on him, right? But I don't know. You know what? I'm just going to go with my heart on this one. I want to see a shakeup. Do I think it's going to happen? Honestly, at Saturday Night's Main Event, I don't. But what I love to see it, you're damn right I would. I think I'm going to go with Drew on this one.
So I will go with my brain and not my heart and say Cody retains. But I also kind of want Drew to win.
Yeah. The logical pick is probably the right one here, that Cody takes this W. But, you know, I really would love to be sitting on the live stream, eating pizza and jumping out of my seat because Drew finally got the W. And I keep thinking about that dude who was in chat one night. I can't remember what we were live streaming, but he was in chat and he was saying something about Drew. And he was just like, man, I would really love to see Drew as champion again. And I remember saying to him, you know, what was it, Drew? I think it was Drew.
I just remember our very first chatter who wanted us to recognize the real tribal chief, Tama Tonga. Who, hey, Tama Tonga, he got in the gym and maybe got on the good vitamins when he was away because he's a little jacked, a little more jacked than he was.
Yeah,
he's getting closer to looking like Tongaloa than he is the other way. Now they're all just a bunch of giant dudes.
Yeah, that's definitely where they're at. The face paint does not help.
The face.
I mean,
telling them apart. Okay,
that's what I mean.
What you're saying.
The face paint does not help with telling them. But the face paint is awesome. Like it works for them totally. But like telling them apart, I was already struggling because the names are so freaking similar. And, you know, it still makes zero sense why they did that. But you said Tama Tonga is the one who was hitting the gym, right?
Yeah, he's a little more jacked than he has looked before, at least to me. Looked like during his little hiatus.
So yeah, I'm on WWE.com and I'm looking at the results page for SmackDown, and and on the image here, it's got them in the entryway, I guess, after the match, and Solo's got his arm around JC, and Tala Tonga's in the background, and I believe this is Tongaloa.
Yeah, no, that's Tama Tonga. I see the one you're looking at.
Okay, that's Tama Tonga, Mr.
JC. Yeah.
Oh,
I told you he beefed up.
Yeah, he did beef up. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Dang. Yeah. He looks like he's been hitting the gym and taking a lot of protein. You know what I'm saying? And some creatine too, because it looks like he's carrying some water weight.
Some something that ends in "ine," some kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Some creatine maybe. But no. Listen. If he sheds the water weight and maintains his relative size, you know. But I think the water weight gives him a bit more of an imposing look right now. I swear, I thought that was.
Yeah, no, that's Tama Tonga. Yeah, I saw the one you were looking at.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's looking.
Because when I
Googled
googled Tama Tonga, it came up, and yeah, it's the one in the entranceway, and like JC's face paint is kind of rubbed off on the top
Yes.
of his forehead. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay.
that's Tama Tonga.
Dang. Okay.
Big fella now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. So going down this card one more time just to get our picks in. So we are in agreement on the triple threat, Dom and Rusev and Penta, that Dom is going to retain here.
Yep.
Okay. Tiffany Stratton and Jade, we both are in agreement that Jade goes over here.
Yes.
CM Punk versus Jey Uso, we are both in agreement that Jay should win here.
Yes, and I think he does.
I think he should win here, and I think that any other outcome would be not the smart one. And so I think he should win here. And then we are split on Cody versus Drew.
Yes, you're voting with your heart, I'm voting with my brain, essentially.
I feel like I should be voting with my brain, but I just want to see chaos.
Yeah, sometimes you got to will it into existence.
Yeah, you got to be the dude to bet on red, even though black is probably going to be what the dice rolls on. And, unless you are at the WrestleMania 42 promo art table, and in that match, in that scenario, somebody's just not going to bring dice to the crap table. You're just going to put all your chips on black.
Got chips. They just got chips.
You put all your chips on black, and nobody's going to have cards. No one's going to be rolling craps. You know what I mean? Everybody's just going to pick up their own chips and walk away again once the photo shoot is done. That seems like a gross oversight to not bring the cards, but
yeah, sometimes the internet entertains me with wrestling when someone points out there's no cards, and then other times people are pointing out how many dislikes the latest Jey Uso video has on YouTube, and then I can take it or leave it.
Yeah. Did they do that recently?
Oh yeah. Oh, here's Jey Uso. Look at how many dislikes his videos have. Okay, why don't you turn on Monday Night Raw and listen to the crowd?
Right. Because your critiques online.
Just because everyone and their friend Mark is online hitting the dislike button.
Yeah, I mean, listen, your critiques online are not writing checks, and so until you're able to start adding to WWE's Patreon along with your comments, I don't think they're going to care that much. But we care. We care about what you guys have to say. We care about you coming out and joining us. We care about you coming out and hanging out and giving us your opinions on things. You ain't even got to pay for the Patreon to get all of this content yet. But I will be doing that at some point. I would really love to do a Patreon at some point where maybe we can do some more exclusive content for Patreon subscribers. But for the time being, all this stuff is right here for free, baby. Like, just take it all in, man. I'm willing Jericho here at this point. I am locked in at this point that we need to have Jericho before Mania.
Yeah, I think we get Jericho at the Rumble. I do.
That, man, oh my gosh, that would make my
Saudi Rumble at the Saudi Rumble for sure.
Oh, it is in Saudi, isn't it?
Get him a nice big fat paycheck, and that's where his last appearance was. Was at the greatest Royal Rumble in 2018.
Oh man, that just makes me feel bad now. Fine. But
it'll get you Jericho.
It will, but okay. You know what? That's fine. I still want Jericho back. I want Jericho back. I want Jericho with new theme song. I don't even listen to Fozzy, but I will comb through some Fozzy records and pick what I think should be his new WWE theme song if he doesn't come back to Judas or Break the Walls Down. But Skeener, please let our friends know where they can catch us. Also, where they can catch us this weekend, because Saturday night's main event is here. Let them know, brother.
Firstly, we will be going live this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Probably a couple minutes before that, but we will be up on what's the channel name? Lariat Live?
Lariat Lounge Live, baby.
It's Lariat Lounge Live.
Yeah, I ain't changing
on our
that.
Lariat Lounge Live channel on YouTube, and we will be there chatting it up. So if you want, feel free, stop in. You can hang out the whole event. You can hang out for 5 minutes. We'd just be happy if you popped in, said hello, but we will be there for what should be a great Saturday night's main event. As you know as well, we're coming at you once a week, every week, in this podcast format on all your favorite podcast platforms, wherever you get your shows, be it Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, all those. We're up there every week. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. And as always, inboxes open for you to communicate with us at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
You guys, come out and hang out with us this weekend. Seriously, send us an email or post on Instagram. Let us know what your pizza order is going to be for this weekend. I plan on switching things up this weekend and not getting the same pizza order I always get, even though like the pepperoni classic from Vito's is top notch. I think I'm going to try something different this weekend. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I'm having the hankering for something.
Now, do you mean a new place, or are we going like new toppings?
Oh, no, I'm sticking with Vito's. I think to me, Vito's are the best in town.
Okay.
But no, I'm thinking I'm going to try some different toppings. I usually just get pepperoni because that's easy to placate the wife too. But yeah, I know. But listen, let me say this, Ninja Turtle fans out there. I'm not venturing too far out, okay? Not adding anchovies or anything to the pizza. That's crazy talk. But I may put some sausage on there this time, or I love green stuff on my pizza. So anytime you've got like arugula and stuff like that, you got me locked in, man. So I may put some peppers on there. That sounds good. Like some arugula, some banana peppers, and some sausage. That might be the go right there. Nice, colorful, flavorful. Loving it. What about you, Skeens? Are you sticking with the usual?
Yes, it's going to be pepper. It's going to be pepperoni. The as wild as I will ever get is sometimes I will be feeling froggy and put a little bacon on there, but that's as much as we go. As we go pepperoni. We go pepperoni is required, and there's maybe bacon, and that's it.
Okay, so Lariat Lounge fans, I have an announcement to make. I might as well announce it while we're talking about the prime subject of pizza. Next year in April, the Lariat Lounge will be live for WrestleMania 42, and we will be streaming for WrestleMania 42. But Skeens and I will be doing the Lariat Lounge live for the first time in person. It'll be the first time we're podcasting together in person. So mark your calendars, folks. It's going to be a momentous occasion. I just got the okay from my financial advisor, aka my wife, that we can make this happen. So we're going to be hitching a flight across the country. We're headed to see our friend, and we're going to do Lariat Lounge live together. And I guarantee you guys, we're going to have 3 pizzas. We're going to have one that's pepperoni. We're going to have one maybe with some bacon on it or something to give some flavor. And I'm going to get Skeens to try a slice of something different.
We'll see.
I don't know what it is.
TBD.
I'm not going to push you out of the bounds, sir. I'm just elevating your flavor palette a little bit.
Yeah. I like it at the altitude it's at.
He sounds so ready for this. I'm ready for it. I'm pumped. I've never been to Milwaukee. So
Going to be a blast.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really great time. I look forward to it.
We be up here in the nice windy spring.
Oh,
You'll have about 35 mile an hour gusts, just like we got going on right now. We got a little wind coming through. Got a little 40 mile an hour gusts going on outside. So it's interesting. It's different.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to that region of the country. So it'll be nice to see how another group of Americans live. And it'll be nice to see you. It'll be nice to meet your wife. You get to meet my wife. and we'll enjoy WrestleMania together. We'll have some good food, some good pizza. You can show me some spots I can take the wife around during the daytime to check out around the area. And it'll be fun. But I just wanted to give you all a heads up on that because it'll be a great time to be a Lariat Lounge listener. So, please continue to listen. If you're listening to us and you're liking what we're doing, give us a like rating wherever it is that you're listening because it does wonders for us. We wouldn't be the amazing rank 196 in Pro Wrestling Podcast via Apple Podcast if it wasn't for you guys. I was about to throw in, it's not just me saying that, but I mean it. Like, it wouldn't be possible without you guys and you all listening and tuning in and just loving to hear two wrestling fans talk about the thing that they love, which is pro wrestling. So we always appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming out. For Andrew Skeens and myself, Everson Godfrey, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. We'll see you this weekend. Please watch yourself on the way out.